Hey everybody, here on Arkansas Dirt Track Racers past and present. I just wanted to make a little video of the, I guess you call it the Hall of Fame inductee ceremony tonight. And I'm going to take y'all along with us. Y'all stay right here.
I will. I'll holler because I know I'll get it. You know most of these guys. Come here, man.
There was the development of the Arkansas Motorsports Hall of Fame. I know a lot of y'all don't know me, and that's probably a good thing, but my name's Bill Gilkey. And Bear Brantley called me a couple of weeks ago. We were traveling to Tennessee, and he told me this banquet was coming up. And then this past Tuesday, he called me and he asked me if I would MC tonight's banquet because Rob Ayers, who normally does this, was unable to be here tonight. And then at noon today, Bear called me and he said, I can't be there tonight, so you're going to have to take care of this thing. He's down with the flu, COVID, or some form of some ailment that he said probably only originates in the deepest, darkest jungles of the world. He wanted y'all to know that. So. But anyway, a little bit about the Arkansas Motorsports Hall of Fame. We'll talk a little bit about it. Just recently there's been a spot that's been made available in the Museum of Automobiles atop beautiful Petit Jean Mountain that has been given to honor not only the past recipients in the Arkansas Drag Racing Hall of Fame, but also the newly formed Arkansas Motorsports Hall of Fame. So please make your way to the top of Petit Jean Mountain, to the Museum of Automobiles, and see this fantastic display. And I know Mr. Metcalf has been up there this week and finalizing some stuff on that. And everything I've seen is really great. So give him a big round of applause. Also, we give a big thanks and round of applause. I don't know if there's anybody here tonight from the Museum of Automobiles, but I think this is going to be a great addition to that museum up there. So give them a round of applause and we can report back for that. Like I said, a lot of y'all don't know me, but I grew up in a motorsports family, and I've had the opportunity to be involved in dirt track oval racing as well as drag racing. And I'm just going to tell you, we have a contingent of people from Arkansas that should be held in worldwide renown, and we're finally getting a lot of recognition from that because of people like Bear Brantley. And I see Steve Haynes is with us tonight. Thank you, Steve, for all you do. We give him a round of applause. He's a big part of this. And I've been a motorsports enthusiast most of my life, and there was a lot of people that have done great things in motorsports that I didn't realize up until a couple of years ago were from Arkansas. And preserving the heritage of our sports is that's something that we've got to do, and so we can pass those stories and that recognition down. But I'm going to tell you, when you really go to study it, drag racing and oval track racing, Arkansas has turned out some really great champions and drivers in our sport. But anyway, I also want to thank, and I mentioned to Bear Brantley several years ago that what the Arkansas Drag Racing Hall of Fame was doing was a great thing, and that I wish that we had the opportunity to include all motorsports. And I want to thank everybody involved in that brought all the motorsports in Arkansas together. And for all of y'all that were involved in that, thank y'all. Round of applause for everybody involved with that. I want to thank my wife, introduce my wife Lisa here. Thank you, everyone. Good job. Yeah, good time. But I've had the great fortune to host and MC Motorsports banquets for the last 25 years across Arkansas, Missouri, and Oklahoma. And I think only one time she's only got to make one of them. We went to Carthage, Missouri back in 2006. And Carl Blanton, the owner of Mocan Dragway, invited me up there to be the guest speaker. And over 25 years, that's the only one that, because of kids and sports and everything, and the schedules just didn't match up. But she made the trip down from Danville, Arkansas. It would be nice. And thank you for, since we've been married 30 years, 32 years. They told me to start out with some jokes.
You better quit while you're ahead.
But anyway, she has allowed me to travel around and race and do banquets, and I appreciate her and glad she could make the trip tonight. But anyway, we're going to get started here tonight, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go off schedule here just a little bit, and some of you may know, and I'm going to read this because I didn't know I was going to get the opportunity to do this just a little bit ago. But our good friend and Hall of Fame inductee Dwight Cox from down at Stuttgart a few weeks ago was presented and was for an induction in the Division IV Hall of Fame inductee. And I think this was supposed to happen, and correct me, Dwight, down in Dallas, Texas, is that right? Fort Worth. But the weather, if you know, the weather a few weeks ago had everything messed up in several states, and that wasn't able to happen. And I'm going to read what was going to be presented down in Texas. So bear with me here.
It was presented.
It was presented? Okay.
Lonnie Grimm.
Lonnie Grimm did come, but I'm going to read this because I think it's very important. And Dwight has done so much and accomplished so much in the sport, and I think everybody should hear this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor and privilege to introduce a true legend in NHRA drag racing, Mr. Dwight G. Cox, spanning an incredible career. From 1965 to 1990, Dwight's contributions in the sport of drag racing have left an incredible mark, not only in Division IV, but on the NHRA as a whole. Dwight's journey began in local NHRA tracks across the South from Carlisle and Little Rock, Memphis, Monroe, Louisiana. His first NHRA win came in 1965 in Little Rock, where he piloted a 1955 K-Stock Chevrolet to victory lane in stock eliminator, for a grand total payout of $15. From those humble beginnings, Dwight honed his craft by building and tuning cars in the back of Jake Red's auto repair shop, sharpening skills that would carry him to the highest level of success in drag racing. In 1974, Dwight fulfilled a lifelong dream by winning Super Stock Eliminator at the prestigious U.S. Nationals in Indianapolis, setting a national record in the process. During the trophy presentation, Wally Parks himself commended Dwight, noting it had been 20 years since someone from Arkansas had won a national event, a proud moment for Dwight and the state he calls home. Dwight's racing resume reads like a master class in perseverance and excellence. He set multiple national records, captured numerous class wins, and secured the Division IV Superstock Championship in 1977.
Sorry it took so long.
That same year, he traveled coast to coast, competing in events from the Gator National Sport to the Winter Nationals in California, all while earning back-to-back recognition as one of Carcraft Magazine's top 3 Superstock drivers. Known affectionately as the Watermelon Farmer, a nickname that originated as a joke on the tech card, Dwight carried his signature humor and sportsmanship with him to every track. He faced adversity with grace, whether it was overcoming injuries, adopting to the NHRA rule changes, or navigating the end of factory support racing. Through it all, Dwight was not just a fierce competitor, but also a champion of integrity He is known for being meticulously compliant during frequent inspections, setting an example for fairness in the sport. Even after retiring from active racing in 1990, Dwight has continued to share his expertise mentoring local racers and promoting safe and legal racing. Dwight is more than a champion. He is a trailblazer, a mentor, and a pillar of our Division IV community. His legacy is one of gift, determination, and deep love for the sport of drag racing. Please join me in celebrating and welcoming Dwight Cox as the 2024 inductee into the Division IV Hall of Fame. Dwight, can you come up here and let's get a picture of you and this? And I'm going to read this from the South Central NHRA Division 4. NHRA South Central Division, the Good Guys Hall of Fame inductee, Dwight Cox.
Dwight, if we could get a picture here. Okay. Speed. Well, just that my father-in-law and Billy Herndon have been more proud of this line.
Dwight Cox, please. First 2024 inductee. Back in the early 1980s, when I started out racing, I've become aware of this gentleman by the name of Wayne Brooks. And, he has been somewhat of a hero to me all of my life. And I never met Wayne Brooks up until a few years ago, and Moody Starr, the owner of Banquet Motor Speedway, didn't offer me a job. He called it an opportunity. And from where I live, it's 3 hours from my driveway to the driveway to the track. So that's a 6-hour round trip every week, and sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. And I really wasn't that interested. And Moody said, well, if you could just help us for a couple of weeks till we find somebody. And I want to thank Moody for every day for 12 years to continue looking for somebody to take my place. But he never let up. He never let up. But during that 12 years, I started a friendship with a hero of mine, Wayne Brooks. And Wayne, if you're not familiar to dirt track racing, he drove the famed UFO cars. And he started his racing career in 1969 in an old Plymouth car. It was the only car that his father would let him have from the salvage yard. So, and as Wayne will admit, it probably wasn't that great of a race car. But it was enough for Wayne to figure out that racing was what he wanted to do and help him plot and calculate for the future. Wayne would later in life move on to race 6-cylinder stock cars, a class that was very popular during the 1970s. Wayne would pretty much dominate the class across the state of Arkansas during this time period. Also during this time, Wayne encountered a young teenage racer by the name of Mark Martin. And now later in life, Wayne would become an instructor of dirt track racing with what is known as the Brookshaw Driving School. Wayne considers Mark Martin as one of his first students. Also, the Brookshaw Driving School, if you don't know, has held classes from the East Coast to the West Coast, and thus the nickname that a lot of us younger guys refer to him as Dr. Dirt. Wayne in the late 1970s made the transition to dirt late model stock cars and would travel the United States, accumulating over 500 wins in dirt track late model stock cars. Wayne also ventured behind the wheel of a sprint car on a couple of occasions and was very successful there as well, as he won races in sprint cars as well. Later in his racing career, Wayne's interest in racing switched to open wheel modified style racing. Again, Wayne set out traveling the United States and racking up hundreds of victories in the process. Wayne Brooks, always the calculator and the thinker, won a lot of these races with a V6 when everybody else was running the V8, because he figured out there was a weight break for the V6 and he thought that would work. And the story goes, Wayne made the trip down to Texas, and I think the race, correct me wrong, was at $10,000 to win that it paid? Down in Texas, and Wayne showed up with the V8 or the V6 car, and everybody laughed. And when Wayne got there, Wayne didn't even have legal tires for that race, so he went around the pits and bought 4 used tires from the racers down there. And the promoter and everybody, said that you brought a knife to a gunfight. And Wayne not only went out there and set a blistering pace, but he won that race. He won the 10,000 in Victory Lane. The promoter told Wayne that he wanted to congratulate him, that they were wrong, but to never bring that car back to Texas again. But in 2019, Wayne was inducted into the Dirt Late Model Racing Hall of Fame, located at the Florence Speedway in Union, Kentucky. Wayne continues to race today, and even as recent this year, he won some feature races at Baseball Motor Speedway in the IMCA Modified Division. He's always a threat every time he steps out onto the track, and just does a fantastic job. But ladies and gentlemen, if we could please, I would like to introduce and bring forward for presentation one of our 2024 Motorsports Hall of Fame inductees, Mr. Wayne Brooks.
He makes me sound real good. Well, I want to thank, first of all, guys. There's no way that I have ever. I love doing what I've done, but I could have never made it without a lot of good help and good sponsors. Mr. Bill Evans, one of my first sponsors, he's here, and one of my last sponsors, Edwin Wells and his wife. Also, Larry Shaw Race Cars. And I'm sure I'm missing some that's here that I haven't noticed. And I've had the opportunity to race against, I think it's called that, Burton and a few other guys. Y'all might know. But anyway, fellas, I've got 2 fellows here that helped me, whip me around the country, that's helped me on the pit crew. Like I said, couldn't have made it without all the good help, and I definitely appreciate it.
Thank you, Wayne. I called Wayne Brooks one time back in about 2008. I built my own modified chassis. And we had had some good success with seconds and some thirds, but we just couldn't quite get over the hump to win a race. And Dick Lawrence, who drives for Edwin, was driving for us, and we just couldn't figure it out. So one Saturday morning, Heath, my other partner, and Dick, and we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, what we were going to try this week. And I had come up with Wayne Brooks' phone number. And I told them when they got to the shop, they said, "What we're going to do?" I said, "We're going to call Wayne Brooks." And it was like, I should have shot him with a shotgun. But he said, "You just don't call Wayne Brooks. We don't know him, and the last thing he wants to do is hear 2 or 3 hillbillies from Gale County, Arkansas." So I called Wayne, and he answered the phone. And I got to admit, we started calling at 9 o'clock, but we kept hanging up. And we finally pushed the last number about 10 o'clock that morning. Talked to Wayne for about 10 or 15 minutes, and he said, "Oh yeah, do this." So there was 2 races left this season. We made this simple adjustment that he recommended, and we went and won the last 2 races of that season. Come back the next season, won 22 out of 24 races, and run second in the other 2 races. So that's why we call him Dr. Dirt. And years later, when we got acquainted, he remembered me calling. And I do appreciate you not hanging up on me. Is Mark Martin? There's not a lot that I probably need to talk about Mark Martin, because I think everybody's familiar with him. But born January the 9th, 1959, Batesville, Arkansas. He started racing at the young age of 14. And in 1979, like I said, during that time frame, his teenage years, he kind of tore up the dirt tracks here in Arkansas and went on to start an asphalt racing career. In 1979, he was the track champion at Tri-State Speedway at Fort Smith, Arkansas, back when it was still asphalt. Mark was the American Speed Association Rookie of the Year in 1977 and was the American Speed Association champion in 1986. As we all know, Mark went on to have a very successful NASCAR career, but he was also very involved in the International Race of Champions. And in the years of 1994, 1996, 97, 98, 2005, he was the IROC champion. He had 882 NASCAR starts, 40 wins, 453 top 10s, and 56 poles. In the Xfinity Series, he had 236 starts, 49 wins, 152 top 10s, and 30 pole positions. And he also dabbled a little bit in the Craftsman Truck Series with 25 starts, 7 wins, 20 top 10s, and 3 poles. He was named one of NASCAR's greatest 50th drivers. And in 2015, he was inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. And in 2017, was inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So at this time, I'm going to ask a good friend of mine also, Larry Shaw, who is very involved in Mark's early racing career, to come up, and he's going to accept Mark's award because Mark can be here tonight. And I know Larry has got a few things that he'd like to say about Mark, so I'm going to turn it over to Larry for a few minutes.
Put his coat on for Ed because he thought I was going to preach somewhere later.
Okay. Get a picture here just real quick. Bert, did you say you were timing him?
Yes.
Okay.
He'll spin me out real quick. Well, Mark, he couldn't be here. He called me early this morning. He's in California. And he said, can you make sure you do that? I said, oh, I'll do it. He said, do whatever you need to, tell whatever you need to, just tell them I'm proud of Arkansas and proud of Benton Speedway, Basic Speedway, Tri-State, all those Arkansas did. First time he went to I-30, he wasn't old enough to get the pits. And the lady running the pit deal called track official and said, we got a young man here who wants to race, but he's not old enough. Well, you know the rules. Who is it anyway? All he said was Mark Martin, Basic. Yeah, he's that kid that's been winning all them races. I'll be right over there. During my 6 years with Julian and Mark, I missed one race, and Julian missed one race. The night Julian missed, I signed Mark in, and I told Mark, I said, whatever you do, don't go out there and get hurt, because I bet you covered. So anyway, I don't know how many races he won in a row at I-30, but there's quite a few, wasn't there? And I-30 back in Wayne and Mark's deal, Wayne had moved up to late model, and Mark stayed with the 6-cylinder. You had 6 cylinders and late models on the 2 classes you had. But if you won this week or run second this week, you started dead last and come up there. Now, I know the number was 10 or 11 in a row from the back, so I think this I-30 told me that record still stood. That was one of his, when you see all of his interviews, that's one of his highlights of one of his biggest races. The other one was when he went to Bolivar, Missouri, and they had the Phoenix 50. And that was a late model race. We didn't know what to put on for tires. They had real big tires, and Mark goes over at the Mars tar truck and said, I seen one of them cars with those tires right there, we'll take a pair of those. So we put them on, and we didn't do real good in the heat. We got stuck in a C feature, and we come up through there, and we won the C feature. And that put us in the back of the B feature. The B feature, he come from the back to second. And Neil, the guy, the promoter there at Bolivar, he had a deal, if somebody runs second, and winner didn't want to win, if you pay him start money, you could have his place. So we did that. I don't remember who won the race, but we took his and we started dead last. And Mark didn't even, he come up there and he going whereabouts couldn't go. And He didn't even know he won the race. He could come around after the race is over. Estrie Phillips, they was all there, Collier. He didn't even know he'd won the race. He come around, he's getting ready to blow his head. They said, no, you go to Victory Lane. And he said, when he come around Victory Lane, them fans, all of them fans waving at him and everything. And he said, then I realized I won the race. That was his second deal that he'll tell you about all the time. Then the third one was 1977. It was running asphalt. And they had what they called the National Short Track Championship at Rockford, Illinois. All the NASCAR stars, all the short track stars, they would come in there to that race. Well, when I left house that morning, I told Cheryl, I said, I don't believe we need to be going up there. We'd went up there a year before just watching them, had us all scared to death. She said, oh, you'll be okay. Well, we go up there, we set second quick time, and then we won the 300 lap race. Now, what they did, they put a horseshoe, they had a horseshoe of roses. And I looked at the picture, Dick Trickle had it on the year before, and up just about above his knee. They put that on Mark, he touched the ground. So that was some highlights. Of course, everybody knows what Mark Brown did. We're still real good friends and everything. But Wayne probably helped Mark and myself, not even in that, but all through our racing careers, you know. Wayne was always a big part of our deal. I'm not bragging on myself or anything, but when I come back down here from Michigan, I went to Michigan, and after Mark and Julian burned me out, I went to Michigan for a few years, 2 years, worked for Baker Engineering. And first winter up there, they got 88 inches of snow. And I told the boss, I said, I'm going south when them birds go south this year. So I come to Arkansas in August, and on October the 10th, 1979, I started our show race car. And I went through a bunch of cancer late, from 15 to about 19. So I decided to sell the business because I just didn't have no strength and feel like working at it or anything. So when I built the last car in 2019, it was 5,463. And as far as I know, nobody's touched that. But Mark, he couldn't be here, but he wanted me to take this and thank him. Man, there's so many people in here that have done a lot for me, Edwin. Of course, Virgin did him. All these people. Anyway, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Before we make our last and final and most deserving award, there's something I would like to do that I didn't do when we started, but being as nervous as I am, if you are a past inductee in the Arkansas Motorsports Hall of Fame, would you stand up? You guys. Give all these folks a big round of applause. And I meant to do that before we got underway, and I was just nervous and skipped over it. Last but not least, I will tell you, I've done a lot of research and read a lot of things about this recipient. And we've all heard of Sammy Swindell and Steve Kinsler. Well, this man that I'm about to introduce, take those two, multiply them together by about 100, and you have Mr. Bobby Ward. And born June the 30th in 1935 in Bee Branch, Arkansas. Also known as the Arkansas Traveler because Mr. Ward was not afraid to take his show on the road. Now, you know, he started racing many, many years ago, and I know this day how hard it is to get up and down the road in today's modern convenience vehicles. I can't imagine how it was back in those days with the technology of automobiles back then, but my hat is off to you, sir, for the traveling that you and your family done. But he started his racing career doing some drag racing around the local area of Bee Branch. And when organized stock car racing came to Arkansas, Bobby Ward totally focused his racing efforts on dirt track racing. Bobby quickly rose to the forefront in oval track racing in the state of Arkansas, racing what was then known as modifieds or super modifieds. And for those of you who don't know, they were the predecessors to the modern day sprint cars. And in 1959, Bobby won the inaugural Arkansas State Championship that was held in Pine Bluff, Arkansas. 1959. During his racing career, Bobby would win the Arkansas State Championship 4 times. A little research I'd done, Bobby attributed his driving abilities from a time as a youngster for driving his father's milk truck from Bee Branch, Arkansas to Clinton, Arkansas, because he had to get there in a hurry, but he had to keep the milk safe in the process. Bobby was not afraid, as I said earlier, to travel to the other regions of the United States to race, and thus he earned the nickname the Arkansas Traveler. Bobby became a well-known racing figure in Amarillo, Texas area. Bobby won 3 Southwestern Modified titles in 1963, 1964, and 1968. And in 2015, Bobby became the first driver to be inducted into the Amarillo Motorsports Hall of Fame. Now, a little bit of a story. Back in the late 1980s, me and some other guys from the Fort Smith area, we made the trek to Amarillo, Texas to a race out in Amarillo. And we got out there and people found out we were from Arkansas. The only thing that they wanted to know about us was if we knew Bobby Wolf. And I don't think any of us ever had the privilege of meeting you, but we all knew who you were. And the whole time out there, the only thing anybody wanted to talk to us about was Bobby Morris. Well known in Amarillo, Texas. And if you don't know, back in those days when Mr. Ward was out there, Amarillo, Texas was a hotbed for that type of racing, as you see here. During this time frame, Bobby was also victorious in winning the New Mexico State Nationals in Albuquerque, New Mexico, which, back in that days was kind of like the Indianapolis 500 for this type of racing. Bobby also won several races in the Kansas City, Missouri area, one of the most prestigious titles being the National Short Track Championships that were held in Kansas City, Missouri. Bobby decided to retire from racing in 1974. But the story of Bobby Ward's racing is not complete when he retired. In 2012, Bobby Ward was inducted into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame, which is housed in Knoxville, Iowa, at Knoxville Raceway. And ladies and gentlemen, we could please give a real big round of applause to a hard-working, like I said, he is 70 foot down and 6 feet from 100, Mr. Bobby Ward.
I'm going to speak on his behalf. I'm his grandson. I'm Nathan Thomas. So I've only seen this man race one time because he retired 6 years before I was born. That was in an old-timers race, and that's what they call it. I think he finished third, though. He hadn't raced in a couple of decades at that point. But so most of my life, this man's just, he's my pawpaw. So now, 15, 20 years ago, something like that, I started traveling with him. We went to Amarillo several times. We went to Knoxville several times. And one thing that really stood out to me is I didn't know that this guy was a superhero when it came to dirt track racing. Years and years before I was born. There's always, every trip we went on, there was somebody that came up to him and we're talking about the shiny Me Too car. He always had a real clean car, and I think he was one of the first guys to run chrome on the car, which really caught everybody's attention. But I think the main thing is he would go off to these places out of state or out of town, out of state, and he would just whip everybody's tail, so everybody knew who he was. He stuck in their mind, and literally, decades later, people are coming up to him saying, "Man, we used to see you come to our home track and beat all of our local guys." But anyway, he'll be 90 years old this year, still going strong. But I know he's a superhero to all of y'all when it comes to dirt track racing, and he's my pawpaw, and we're really proud of him. Thank y'all, everybody that kind of put this together. it's a real honor to see his name, you know, with these other names up here that I'm very well aware of. Anyway, thank y'all. This is our family right here. We got some real family and some adopted family here. But thank y'all, everybody, for coming out, and thank you. This is a really big honor for us.
Thank you all very much. I'm thankful for this time that I have so many different things in my life. So thank you all for all of us, what they do in their life. Thank you forever. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Steve Thomas, good to see you.
We are at the Arkansas Motorsports Hall of Fame. A little bit loud in here, but I want to make a little video. Y'all just witnessed the dirt track portion of it. And I just wanted to get on here and make a little video of this. Document it for the Arkansas dirt racers, past and present. And thought it'd be a good little video for each and every one of you. So like, share, tell somebody about the page. We're almost to 5,000 members of the page, and I think we've met a few people here tonight that really enjoy the page. So y'all jump on and comment on this. This is pretty much an honor being a part of this tonight.